in the style of Drew Barrymore? Pardon, sorry? Can we conduct this conversation in the style of Drew Barrymore? His whisper is meek, as gentle as he could be. The request baffles me, but I recover quickly, respond, "That's an interesting idea, but this will work best if we just talk as ourselves." In my head, I don't recall Drew Barrymore having a particular standout demeanour, and I don't want to admit this in case it leads to confrontation. So he nods, and I nod, and we continue. I work at the trampoline park, Cagley Jump, the one just off Cagley High Street. It's essentially a 5,000 square foot warehouse packed out with hundreds of interconnected trampolines and stunt zones. Cushioned borders line each square and a huge climbing wall dominates the right side of the building. An online review reads, "Everything. I loved everything from the obstacle course to the trampolines and the huge jungle gym and the cute little donut slide. If I could describe it in a short sentence, I would say that it's so good that I could kill you. Honestly, that's how good it is." Another reads, "I could not be happier with my experience at Cagley Jump today. There are 3 amazing special staff members that I would like to talk about. 1, Tori. Tori is amazing, kind and hardworking. Sarah, she is also hardworking and is so great with the kids. 3, Angela. Angela is very joyful. Too joyful. It made me feel suspicious." That is me. I am Angela. I run kids parties when we're short-staffed, but my main focus is leading the Cagley Jump support group. The group is aimed at people who have longed for happiness for a long time, but never quite reached it and somehow found themselves in a substantial trampoline park. People can self-refer to Cagley Jump, but it's 10 people maximum and we operate a first come, first served policy. Often the people who show up are having a real time of it. Anxiety, depression, bereavement, isolation, and are searching for an alternative method to lift them out of it. That's where we come in. We provide a safe space for community play. Our website has this sentence in an alluring, glittery font for emphasis. Safe space means ethics. It means being professional, holding boundaries, no contact with clients outside, etc, etc, etc. First, I have a one-to-one meeting to check we are the right service for them, and then we move to group jumping sessions with other participants. And in case you're wondering, I don't have any special background here. The last leader had a background in therapy, but after she broke her back doing a flip in the zombie stunt zone, I was next in line, naturally, being the only woman there with a soft demeanour, a gentle jawline and an aura of self-sacrifice. I meet Robert for a one-on-one on Tuesday morning. We are cosily positioned in the only private space in the building, a stuffy room often used for kids' parties and lovingly doused in primary colour paint and mashed carpet chicken nuggets. Together we move through the Cagley Jump assessment questions. Robert tells me he had asthma as a child and that stopped him from joining in. That he remembers the time he was laid out on his bed unwell and could hear his siblings playing outside, that he often felt like an outsider. I make notes as he talks. Just so you know, I'm writing down important things that you say. I'm not making any judgments. Right. I note that he's a part-time window cleaner, that he once had a wife, that his emergency contact is not family or a friend but a neighbour several doors down, that he has a lot of health appointments but finds it hard to keep track, hard to turn up. There's guilt for screwing with the NHS waiting times, but more dread and what-ifs that keep him at home. He wants to be around people without having to do the big social stuff. He mimes inverted commas here, as if to mock himself for finding human interaction intimidating. I nod. I note that he is large in size and kind and soft in tone, that there is a riddle between the lines on his face, etched between the deep curves around his mouth, and then I notice that I am making judgments and stop writing altogether. On the form, he ticks interested in meeting new people and puts a line through the statement, I like to laugh. And what do you do with all that creative energy? I ask after a particularly juicy conversation about pottery. He just looks at me as if creativity is a privilege, an indulgence to be drunk by others. I explain that everyone must wear appropriate socks, and the ones with the sticky pads underneath are best, that we use trampoline 144 and to avoid the stunt zone at all times. This is for the more experienced jumpers. You can jump off trampolines as high as the sky, but you won't be doing that, obviously. Robert shifts in his straight back chair. A straight back chair is the start of a race. There are no races here. We encourage thoughtfulness, curiosity, when you are ready. On trampoline 144, we sit in a circle, legs crossed or feet in front, lightly bobbing up and down on the spring mat as people come and go. We go round the circle and talk about what matters and what doesn't, what our fears are about tackling the Ninja 2000 course. I just don't think my legs can climb over that, Amira says. I am concerned that no one will like me once they've seen me go down the slide, Finn mutters. There is a tiny sign in the corner that reads, trampolines pose several safety risks and are frequently the cause of accidents and injuries. These injuries can be as mild as a sprain or bruise, or as severe as broken bones, dislocated joints, and even paralysis. We are legally obliged to put this sign up, but it feels totally unnecessary to me. All those things could happen walking down the street. I reposition the bin slightly so it covers half the words. Whatever. People are entitled to a little less worry. Over the next 2 months, we move together as a group, finding new ways to lift our feet off the ground. We challenge each other to try crack the egg, and we pat each other's shoulders after every small win. For a few consecutive weeks, we become obsessed with a game called Scrambling for Change, where we frantically crawl around on our hands and knees across the elevated floor, looking down and circling each other in wild patterns to create a sense of urgency. A rush of adrenaline is guaranteed after urgency. It propels us into the next bit of the day. Then suddenly, and without warning, Robert stops coming. To others, he is conspicuous only by his absence. To me, it unsettles the entire dynamic of the group. Ethics follows me to Cagley Jump's encrypted database, to the high street, to the bus stop, to the dusty back seats. It stares down at the scribbled address and it narrows its eyes as I press the stop button. Ethics clicks its tongue as I get off, but it can't match my pace. Instead, it steadies its walk and slinks behind me at a distance. Robert's house comes into view after several short hours on foot. A large thatched roof cottage, vast space surrounding. The serenity of the place allows me to close my eyes. Finally, here it is always morning. Here I see fungus strewn across fields, each patch uninhabited. Here the door sits ajar, metal lock stern, untouched. Here onion soup travels through the air, the caramelisation and invitation that supersedes any notion of privacy, of what is right and what is wrong about entering without permission, so I enter. Irons, curtains, Fossils. Iron left on. A thick heat curling the air. Curtains dragging on the floor. A statement piece. I would not be surprised if fossils were buried here. On the fridge, a postcard with the word pig-headed and a hand-drawn illustration of a pig head with a human body. As I lean in to peer closer, I trip over a bucket. Looking down, I see several buckets dotted about the kitchen floor. Perhaps a tool of Robert's window cleaning trade. Perhaps a trap of sorts, a trick for intruders or a call for mischief. Yeah, that must be it. That seems like Robert. Mischief. Intentionally inserting rascality into everyday life. Mischief around his own home. I imagine he hides things in places he might not remember later. Draws eyebrows on prominent family figures in photos. Swaps coffee with gravy granules. Stirring stuff up. Stirring up very manageable trouble. A freedom that has escaped me for many years. Such an efficient system allows for play, creativity, and when annoyance is inevitably felt by being on the receiving end of one's own pranks, it is quickly diluted by laughter and a grin, the glee of having fooled oneself, the light-heartedness of no big consequence. That is Robert, I think. That is our Robert from Cagaley Support Jump Group. I am compelled to open all the drawers in very quick succession. Even before I reach the next one, I'm thinking about its contents, the thrill of it pulsing through my wrists. Then I am less triumphant. I am trying to be more domestic, useful, without much luck. I am the biggest person here, but only in enthusiasm, not real. I am smaller than the chopping board. Left wide open and tender, he's deaf to logic, rubbish filled to streetcar windows. I am pointing the finger. Over there, over there. Look at it, look at it, look at it there, look at it there, look at it, look at it. Look at it there, 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 look at it there. I am out of breath. Pick at a price label stuck to the bottom of the mug. Only I care. I would not be surprised if fossils were buried here in this cottage. I can feel the history on my skin. I know that whole stories have played out here. Shouting and apologies, listening and leaving, and loads of devotion. Robert didn't tell me shit. He didn't articulate the weight of home and growth and grief. Despite sharing so generously, I feel betrayed by his lack of openness, by leaving out all of this. As I walk from the cottage to the bus stop, I clutch a tea towel covered in illustrations of small, gleeful pigs. The next day, I am given my final warning at work. I am told that several managers have seen me covering up health and safety signs, that cameras have caught me staying after hours crying on the zombie course, and another unwelcome review has been left online. So really, hacking into the system to misuse someone's data and visit their house was just the tip of the iceberg. We are keeping you solely for your soft demeanour, gentle jawline and aura of self-sacrifice. Right. On the way over to trampoline 144, I tell myself over and over and over again that I am a good person with good intentions, who only wants the best for people. Once there, I am greeted by absolutely nobody. An empty space. Confused, I look around and see Robert, Amira and Finn in the far end of the warehouse in the stunt zone area, barefoot. They are stood in a line 20 foot into the air on our extra elevated jump boxes. The apparatus is designed for experienced jumpers, for those who race forwards, those who spit in the face of trepidation, not for people with low self-esteem who leave the iron on. What the actual fuck? This is my fucking job on the line here. Yeah, it's my fucking job on the line here, actually. Get down! Sweat drips down my neck as I shout, get down right now! They simultaneously turn their heads and look at me, expressions unreadable. Their transition from box to trampoline seems impossible to me. My fear is palpable and they look calm, measured, resolute. All 3 pairs of feet move towards the edge of the box, ready to jump, and then they just fall. Limbs flailing, open mouth expressions hurtling towards the trampoline until they hit the spring floor and it throws them up into the air again. They're alive. Robert, Amira and Finn fly up in the air and plunge down again and again and again, twisting their bodies into jaunty and ambiguous half shapes as spontaneous sounds burst from their mouths. Their primal movements would be impractical in any other setting, but in the air, their creativity and confidence comes in abundance, without outside criticism, without the politics of getting it right, without the big social stuff. All 3 make carnal noises and form words I do not recognise. Dod, nye jiffy yeti cat, oid fry hat cat, faces pigmented with red. There is a directness uncharacteristic of anything I have ever seen. There is a deep commitment here and recognition and respect for each other as they fall at incomprehensible angles, together, falling and arriving, falling and arriving. I had imagined Cagley Jump Support Group would grow through small-scale games, experience euphoria through laughter, community through a big come-together embrace. Whatever this is, it wasn't in my plan. I stare at Robert. Even flying through the air I see his face, a tapestry of lines and cracks with more jaw than most. I had assumed the creases were from crying, from an open mouth howling at the moon, but it now seemed entirely plausible that this man had spent a portion of his life quite content. I am dazed. I feel dazed. My heels feel soft, hair brittle. I wonder what Drew Barrymore would do. I lie down on the adjacent trampoline and watch. An alternative way of being together. My bed covers crumple and I am so unmotivated. I am so unmotivated to do something here that I have to, continually. I am fascinated with this man's survival, with how he manages the big social stuff, with the lines on his face, with how he makes me feel my own grief.